Welcome to Problem Solve, the podcast where me and a special co-host solve all your problems really easily, probably.
Problems? Are you kidding me? I don't have any problems. Okay, I might have a few, but I can work on them with you. Come on.
Hello, Natalie Morales. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jeff?
I'm really good. I'm so happy you're here. I've been watching all of your TikToks for a long time, but I've also seen you on the TV. Can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Well, you said my name. My name is Natalie Morales, and I'm a person, and and I am on TikTok, and I have also watched your videos for a long time. So I'm glad this is actually the first time we're meeting, which is nice.
Right. Uh-huh.
And then also for work, I act and I direct and I write. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got you here because I wanted you to try to answer some callers' questions. It's all about relationships and love and shit like that. And I think that you'd have some really good advice.
Thank you. I love giving advice. And I also have been told by my friends that their therapists think that my advice is good. So I'm here to play that game. That is my personal version of that. What was it, Hidden Temple? Nickelodeon, is just seeing if you agree with my advice. So I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, there's as a therapist of 20 years, there's this thing that happens with my clients. I think this happens with almost all of my clients where I talk to them, I get to know them. I eventually get to know who their friends are, family members, stuff like that. And I figure out which friend in their life actually gives really good advice. Advice that's really straightforward and direct, what the fuck are you doing? You need to break up with him, or quit that fucking job, or your mom is such a bitch, whatever. The really protective friend that gives good advice. And then when I don't want to be as direct, I'll be like, what is your friend?
Ask this person.
What would Natalie say about that? Yeah, have you talked to her?
I think I am that person for a lot of my friends. I've had, real, more than 2 friends tell me that their therapists like me. And I'm like,
yeah,
yes.
That's the best compliment. And
it is.
Us therapists need you. You play such an important role in your friend's healing. And we just use you as much as we possibly can.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say the hard things. Yeah.
Yeah. Say the hard things, and the therapist will be kind of gently challenging clients. But yeah, I love that. I love people like you. It's great. How do you feel about therapy in general? Have you gone?
It was it's stupid.
Do you support it?
It's so stupid.
Do you believe in it?
No, I think it's for wusses.
Yeah.
What have you really found out that about me right just now? No, I think it's great. And I think my life really changed after therapy, and for many reasons, if only to just have a perspective outside of your family or your friends who are either people you're stuck with or people you choose to have in your life, and for are in that way are like you. And so it's nice to have this outside perspective of just somebody that makes you go hey, maybe it doesn't have to be that way. What if we look at it a different way? I think just that is so invaluable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what you do is great, Jeff. And I think I thank you for it.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing such an important service. I agree with you.
I think you are.
Do you know personally, any therapists, friends or family members? Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any therapists that you know where you're just I can't believe they're a fucking therapist? Or is it
No.
that makes sense that they would do what they're doing?
I have one of my closest friends, so I think I've sent her a lot of your videos too.
Nice.
Is a therapist, and I was friends with her all through her deciding that she wanted to be a therapist, and then going to school for it, and then all the stuff, getting her hours, all the stuff that goes along with being a therapist. And she she was always that friend who was giving her friends advice, and like, I'm glad she's getting paid for it now. And she's great. And I think she's incredible at her job. I mean, I've not been therapized by her, but I can imagine that she's incredible at her job. And, no, I've never felt that way about somebody that I know. I've felt that way about people that I know that have been like, I go to therapy, and I'm like, with who? Because whatever they're telling you is wrong. And I do know that your field does attract like weirdo egomaniacs who, want to be right. It can. It's like the best of both worlds. You got to be really careful with that. Not the best of both worlds, the two extremes. I think it's people who are like, I'm going to therapize you. I think it's people who are like somewhat selfless and have had trouble feeling understood, and therefore want to help other people feel understood and understand themselves and get along better in the world. And then I think it's people who want to be right and tell people what to do and tell people how to live their lives, and also feel like holier than thou because they're helping people. I think that's the two extremes. Yeah.
Those are the two extremes. And the people that are like the holier than thou therapists, they can't admit it. They think that they're the ones that got into it.
Oh, you've talked about this with your mom, right? Because your mom's also a therapist.
I have.
We can cut that out if you want, but I just remembered this. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like your mom's probably, you guys are probably the two opposite ends.
That's what I like to make people think. Yeah. I've never been in therapy. My mom has never been my therapist, so I don't know exactly like how she is in therapy. Do. But I do. But I totally fucking do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and like being a therapist, it's like such a feeling of power sitting in that like therapist chair, not having to divulge anything about yourself and just like analyzing the person, and the influence that you have over somebody. Yeah. You could there's some therapists out there that I'm sure like get off
power
on it
hungry.
Or abuse it. Yeah, power hungry. Yeah, exactly. So there are therapists that are not great out there, and you should think about that when you're therapist shopping.
Well, the ones I know are great.
Me too.
Yeah.
Except for my mom, she's the worst. No, she's great. I don't know. You can see her.
She's whatever she is. Yeah.
Exactly. She's whatever she is.
You don't need to protect her, Jeff. It's okay. Who cares?
Thank you. I feel seen. We're gonna both be therapists, though, pretend to be therapists together.
Great.
In this episode. And Andrea, the producer, I didn't give her like an order of like which questions she should play first. So Andrea gets to pick which question she wants to give us, and then we'll go from there. So Andrea, go ahead and play the first question for us.
Hi, problem solved. My pronouns are she, her. I am 23 years old, and here's some context for my question. So, I've been living with my boyfriend for over 2 years now. I am madly in love with him, and I'm very, very grateful that I get to wake up next to him every day. And we actually spend a lot of time together. However, I've noticed that over time my sex drive has been declining, which I'm not really happy about. And I also find myself longing for the times when we had just met, my boyfriend and I, and everything was new and we had to wait a couple days to see each other. I'm not saying that I'm unhappy about the fact that I see my boyfriend every day. I am really happy with that, and I don't want that to change. But here's my question. Is that possible to keep the spark alive, even though we spend 80% of our time together when we're not at work or hanging out with friends? Is that possible? And how? Please tell me how. Thank you.
Good question.
It's a good question. It's a classic question, how to keep that spark alive. Natalie, are you taking notes over there?
I am taking notes, yes. You saw me reach for my pen, yeah.
Yeah, you're taking this very seriously. What did you write down in your notes?
I wrote down 23, sex isn't that good. Spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. That's all you really need to know.
Did she say how long? Do they live together? Or did she say how long they've been dating?
No, she didn't say anything about that. She just said that, like, it was more hot and heavy, lots more sex at the beginning. Now, not so much. They see each other every day, though.
Yeah.
So maybe they're living together, maybe not. Uh, and she's sad. So, have off the top of your head, what do you think? Any ideas?
Well, off the top of my head, I kind of wanted you to go first, but so that I could add on to that. But if I'm to go first, this is what I would say.
Okay.
I would say she didn't give a name, right?
No.
Okay. Should we give her like sex? Dear, sex isn't that great anymore. Here's what I'm going to venture to say. If you're 23, no judgment either way. I imagine that perhaps you haven't had that many partners or serious partners or that much sex. If you're in a heterosexual relationship with a guy who's anywhere near that age, they likely, not to generalize here, but likely don't have a ton of experience either. And from my personal experience, early 20s boys are not great at sex. And I will say that the most important takeaway is that it's not her job to keep the spark alive. That perhaps she may not be. She said that she finds her sex drive sort of waning.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a common thing where you're just like, I love this person. This person's my best friend. And the spark of like getting to know them, is gone. But and there is something to be said for like missing a person, right? Like that always helps. But if she loves him very much, maybe she's looking to build a future with this person, you are going to see a person more and more. Mm-hmm. And what I would say is just to consider the fact that it may not all be on you, and it may be that this person isn't necessarily turning you on. Or making you interested in sex with them. I think there's many kinds of arousal, and I think for women, I can't remember what it's called. Maybe you know this term, but for women, it's like for a lot of women, it's like I will be aroused the second you make me aroused.
So like more of like a responsive desire.
A responsive desire, right? So like, if her boyfriend was like really good at like giving head or something, then she would think about that and want that more. Right. I imagine, right?
Yes.
So I would say that, and for guys that age, and you can speak to this, you're a guy, but like I feel like it's more like, yeah, I think about it every morning and I just do it and it's fine and there's no problem for me at all. And I think that if it's a good relationship, it's worth the conversation of like, hey, these are the things that I like, or maybe I don't even know what I like. Let's discover that together. Let's discover what makes me excited about having sex with you and what I'm going to think about when I'm not with you. And beyond all of that, I would say some tips that I would have is like when you're not together, do a little sexting. Get the person excited for what they may see when they come home, whether or not you deliver, There's also, I think it's a good idea to like purposely not have sex, like make it a rule that you're not having sex and that you're not touching each other or that you're not kissing or that you're only kissing and you can't go any further. I think that makes things exciting. But beyond that, on a bigger scope, I would say have a conversation about the things that turn you on and the things that make you want sex so that the other person knows what you like and attempts to do them.
Yes.
That's what I would say. Jeff?
Natalie,
how about you?
You said so much.
I did.
You did.
Sorry.
I think you said a lot, and I think you said a lot of good things. And you also kind of took down like 23-year-old boys, like they need to step up.
I just think that there is some work to do there. I think women, maybe you find this in your practice. I think women tend to feel like the work is all on them, and that starts from really early age. And I think like young boys that are in relationships with women need to go like, how can I like make her so fucking hot? Like, how do I do this? And that should be a goal.
It should be.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, yeah, like they were probably riding high on the honeymoon period of, novelty, getting to know each other, new bodies, and having sex with each other. The fact that they're probably both like around 20, she's 23, he's probably around 23. There's not a lot of like relationship experience there to know that this is a thing that can happen and typically always happens in every relationship where it's like very sexy and spicy, lots of chemistry, and then it eventually sort of dies down. And there needs to be like a certain amount of like what they call like sexual currency, which is the sending like sexy text, being flirty throughout the day, looking forward to having like sexy times together, like doing things where, when you first get together, a lot of times you're like, whether you know it or not, you're planning on having sex because you haven't seen each other for a couple days. You can't wait to fuck each other. And there's this expectation that you're going to be doing it. And then there's lots of like flirty energy leading up to that point.
Sexual tension, yes.
Yes, exactly. All the sexual tension. So you need to be able to like recreate the sexual tension. But if you're seeing each other every day, and then especially if you live with each other, it's like, who took out the fucking trash? What are we eating for dinner? It gets boring. And all that sexual tension or sexual currency or whatever is just not quite there anymore. And I think that a lot of dudes, I mean, we're generalizing here, but a lot of guys, a lot of young men don't maybe like understand the effort that needs to be put into these relationships to keep that sexy energy going. So they'll probably just have to talk about it. Like, I get the feeling that they're not talking about it and they're just kind of crossing their fingers that maybe it's going to get better, but it won't get better. And it might just get like a little worse as time goes on. But there's also the like, you're not gonna feel that new relationship energy anymore. Like that's only for the first, 6 months, maybe up to a year or something. And so there is like some grieving that needs to happen of like, oh, we're not going to have that new relationship energy that drove the sexual connection that we had. And now we have to like really work on that sexual connection and start leaning into like all the other things that we're finding out about each other. We're really good at supporting each other. We're really good buds. We're really good at like laughing together. We're really good at going on vacations together. There's like so much more to the relationship than just like having sex all the time. You know what I mean?
No.
No.
No,
is this an issue? Do you like grieve the new relationship energy when you're in relationships? Like, have you experienced this type of thing in the past?
Not in that way. But I think that I do, what I have experienced is that idea that like some men have where they're like, this is just me. And the girl's doing all the work to like keep it fresh, and like keep it exciting. And I think the relationships that really survive are the ones that like both really kind of cherish each other's presence in their lives. And that includes a sexiness, I think, especially if sex is a part of your relationship. And it has to be mutual. It has to be that kind of like, we both want to make the other excited. And I don't know. I think also some men feel like it's owed to them when they're in a relationship, and there's nothing less sexy than that.
Yeah, that's not hot.
So yeah.
Yeah. And if you can like focus on all the other areas of connection, emotional connection, mental connection, whatever, then a lot of times, like if you can feel really emotionally connected, that can bleed into feeling really sexy.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. It's not uncommon for like, if I see a hetero couple, for the guy to be like, I want sex all the time. I don't know why she doesn't feel wanted. And whenever I want sex, I'm just like, hey, babe, let's go upstairs.
Yeah, because it's just a hole at that point. It's not
right.
you. It's not, It's just I want it, not like I want to be with you. And the other thing I will say is that when you're young and when you're in a new relationship, the novelty goes a long way to making you turned on. And then when you are used to their moves and they're the same moves, and they maybe weren't that great to begin with, but you had all this other stuff built in your head. You were getting there. But then after a while, you're just like, oh, this is it. That's all. This is all that's happening. Okay. So I just think like, yeah, talking about what you're into, like experimenting about what you may be into or what you may like, I think is really important. And like, I think focusing on, I'm gonna bet chances are he has no problem with anything except that he wishes they would have sex more. Chances are, right?
Probably.
And if that's the case, I would say then concentrate on like her pleasure, and that'll only make her want to come back more and more and more and more.
Yes.
That's what I think.
I agree. Yeah. A lot of times we fall into like a sexual routine where you do the moves over and over. And, you know, they're classics. Maybe they're classics for a reason because you're good at them or they get the job done or whatever. But if you like, yeah, you want to make things a little bit more like sexually adventurous. And that means trying new things. So it could mean just like different positions. It could mean
or
doing
different
it in
order
different
of
places.
things. Yeah. A different place in your
order.
house or something. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So like push the you know, get a little bit outside your comfort zone maybe and see if that turns you on.
I think that's really good advice, Jeff.
I think we gave really good advice. I think we solved your problem.
Great.
Andrea, go ahead and play the second question for us.
Hi, Therapy Jeff. First, as a long-time listener, I just wanted to say thank you for all that you're contributing to the development of many of us and our understanding of relationships, and especially those that are all the way in Germany, like myself. So my name is Leah, and I have a question for you. About 3 or 4 days ago, my boyfriend of a year and almost a half broke up with me over text message because he couldn't see a 5-year plan where we were moving after 5 years because of my job as something that he could commit to. And so after this very long text message, I sent a very short message back about 2 days later that just said, thanks for this text. He can come and collect his things. And because he's obviously not a first language English speaker, I think he didn't realize the sarcasm that I put in the thanks for this text. And so my question to you is, how petty can I be? Is it okay for me to send him another message that just says, if you're under the impression that I thought that breaking or ending a relationship over text is okay, it's not. It's disgusting. Because also, the evening that he came tonight, when he came to collect his things, he brought a bottle of Prosecco with, and then he put it on the table, and I said, well, what's that for? And he's like, for us to drink. And I was like, absolutely not. I packed it away, carried his things downstairs, and I said goodbye to him, and I wished him the best. But now I'm regretting my message initially. What should I do?
I wonder how often that happens, though, of like somebody texting a breakup and being like, you know, giving it a thumbs up or saying thanks for the text, and then them just feeling like they got off the hook and they didn't pick up on the sarcasm. But this is the risk when you're texting anybody. Like conveying sarcasm through text is one of the most difficult things to do. I don't think we have an emoji for it. So I understand her feeling left unsatisfied because she wanted to like convey how fucked up this was. But do you go back and say something? I'm not exactly sure about that. How do you feel about this, Natalie?
So I'm of two minds about it, but I would say I totally understand where she's at, because on the one hand, you're like, woo, dodged a bullet. Good. That guy did me a favor, saved me another 3 years. I get down to the 5-year plan and then I have to move and he's not in it with me. Thank God. What a dick way to do it. What an asshole way to do it. What an unappreciative, like unkind way to do it.
Cowardly.
Extremely cowardly. But also now you know, right? Like so for Leah, I'm sorry that happened to you, and I also am glad that it was only a year and a half, and that you found out at this point. And to answer your question, how petty can you be? I don't think it's petty. My personal opinion in my life, and this is just how I would handle it, is that I'm tired of like not letting people see you cry, because I feel like it isn't important for Leah's life necessarily. It doesn't make a difference for Leah that he knows exactly what she meant. He likely knows by her attitude that night when he came to pick up his stuff, although probably she was nicer than she should have been, and she's regretting that too, right? But I do think, I think there is merit in people knowing that they hurt you, even if it's only for you. I don't think that like taking the higher ground and not letting them see you cry, you know, not letting them see how much they hurt you. I think that fills some people with pride, and that's a good feeling, and that you don't want to give them the satisfaction of that. But I also think people should know when they're being dicks. And I think they should know. Like, even if they do nothing with that information, even if it affects them in no way, I want to tell you, hey, just so you know, in the future, don't do that. That's disgusting. Like, that's awful behavior. And I'm not okay with it. And you can go fuck yourself. Have a nice life. Like, if it was me, that's probably what I would do. So I understand her asking that question, because you also want to be the person that doesn't care. And is like, fine, like, is like, bye. But you're not that person. You're a human being who cares and has feelings and dated this guy for a year and a half. So it's okay that you care, and it's okay that you want them to know exactly how you felt. And it's okay that they hurt your feelings, because you were the one being a person. Like, it's okay to have your feelings hurt. That's an okay thing. So if it was me, I would send that text, and then I'd block him, and that'd be it.
I love all the validation that you're doing here. Listening to this call, like, you do get the sense that, like, she wants to be able to tell him how she really feels, and she just keeps on kind of like not being able to, and he doesn't quite pick up on it. So she's going to really have to kind of like hit him over the head with it. And if it feels like you would, like, we want you to be in alignment with how you feel, and we want you to be able to like communicate all of the, you know, the hurt or the pain or the fucked upness of him just texting you after being together for a year and a half. And if you feel like it would like be satisfying, it would give you a little bit of closure or something, then we think that you should do that. Definitely.
Yeah. And I also, the reason I say block him afterwards is because you're not going to get the response that you want, likely. Right.
Exactly.
And so don't do it expecting a response. Just do it and be done with it, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Like, if you do it, then have zero expectations about what kind of, and like, you're doing it and not in a way where you're getting into like a back and forth conversation where you're like processing. You're just like letting him know. And you're actually like, you don't have to do this, but if you did do it, it would hopefully be like a growing opportunity for him to be like, oh, my behavior has like negatively affected somebody that I really liked, and I hurt them, and maybe I won't fucking do this bullshit later on. Yeah. So hopefully he can learn from it, but still, like, no expectations here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's not her job to teach him, but if she wants to, maybe they'll, that's the desirable outcome.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, it's not your job to teach them. So hopefully it's not coming from that place. It's just coming from a place of like, I want you to know how you affected me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's, like, clearly he didn't get the point when you brought over, the Prosecco or something and wanted to, that doesn't feel good at all.
Some people are as daft. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like a certain amount of time where it's okay to end a relationship by text, or should you just never text anybody that you want to stop seeing them or break up?
I think maybe after one date.
Okay, maybe. So one date, that feels okay. But if it's like 3 dates, 5 dates, no.
Then, I don't know. It depends on, how close you got or what you talked about,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it depends. Some people only communicate through text and would much rather someone break up with them through text after 5 dates.
Yeah,
I get
kids
that.
these days, right? They
I get
text.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like being warned by text. Like, if you want to break up with me, if you're going to break up with me, I want to like consent to the way that you're going to do it. So either over text, then let's fucking go. Maybe if I'm just in the mood for texting, or on the phone, or through a FaceTime, or in person. I think that's maybe a lot to ask for from me. Like maybe I shouldn't be the one dictating how you're breaking up with me, but I would like to give you like a breakup plan so that you know the best way to break up with me, so that you're not like questioning it or you're not feeling lost. Yeah.
It also depends on, I think, the reason for the breakup.
Yeah. Do you think what's a good reason to like do a text breakup?
Again, if like you're like, hey, we've been on 2 dates and I think you're really cool, but I don't know if I see this going any further. I understand that, you know?
So never after you've like defined the relationship, you're exclusive or whatever. No, you would never. No. Okay.
No, not after that. Oh my God, how cruel.
Do you feel like you're a good breaker-upper?
Who's to say? I mean, I guess my exes are to say.
Do you feel good about like? Do you feel like you're like doing it in like a honest, ethical, sort of like straightforward way?
Yes, I try to, but it never feels good. It always feels awful.
It feels horrible. But are you proud of yourself about like ending a relationship because you're like, I did the hard thing and I was really honest and direct?
I've been proud. Yeah, it's very hard. I've been proud of myself when I've left a bad relationship and I should have left before that point, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm done. Then I feel proud of myself, but otherwise it's really sad, you know?
Yeah.
When there are like reasons that are either out of your control or that are just, you know, like two very basic differences that you like care about each other as people, but one of you's got to call it, you know?
Right.
Like
that's the worst.
That's always sad and hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. If I'm breaking up with somebody and they just do like a medium amount of protest, I guarantee I'm getting back with you. Like it's so easy to convince me to stay with you. I do the first breakup so good, and then the next like 3 to 5 breakups are not that great because I'm still trying to do it. I'm a multi-breakupper because you're like, no, don't do this. And I'm like, okay, I won't do that. I don't know what I'm fucking doing here. You know?
I'm not. I won't break up with you until I'm like really sure, which is why sometimes it takes too long. In the past, it has taken too long. I'm not a multi-breaker-upper. I've never dated someone again.
Yeah, I like to break up with you once and then just progressively experience more pain as I continue to break up with you. And it gets more awkward and so much more tension and
exciting.
Very exciting. Yeah, sometimes better sex, but it's such a horrible experience for everybody. And I now tell people, like, if I break up with you and you protest, it will work and I'll stay with you, but it's not good for anybody. Yeah. So keep that in mind.
So don't do that.
Just accept it and let's just move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know what to do if you ever break up with me.
Yeah. Andrea, play us the next question.
Hi, Therapy Jeff. I'm Nadia, and I'm sitting here with my cat reading your book. I've recommended my friends to send you voice messages, and now I realized that it was actually my wish, my desire. I was just kind of projecting it on my friends, and I've been meaning to ask you. I have this 3 months thing that after 3 months, my partners break up with me. It's really like 1 week plus or minus, but 3 months. And I've been working with my therapist for like more than 2 years. It's happening more than for 2 years now. And we cannot figure out what happens because every time it's different reason. I've been asking them for feedback, but they usually say that, oh, it's not you, it's me. I'm just not ready for a relationship, or like I'm just too busy, or like it's all the possible different ways. So I don't see like pattern here, but the only pattern is just 3 months. And I figured out with my therapist that we are working through my like father trauma for a long time now too, but I feel like I have this need for love that I'm feeling it through my friends and hobbies, but still the partner connection is really important part, and I don't want to be like postponing relationships before to be fully healed, because I feel like you cannot heal 100%. And yeah, it's really frustrating because I really want to find a partner for a long time, a healthy, happy relationship, someone secure, because I'm trying to be secure too. But anxious buddy team here. I'll be really, really, really thankful for your advice how to break these 3 months circle rule. I feel like I don't see something really important. Like, it's really, really frustrating. And with my therapist, we really cannot find it too. So, yeah. Thank you.
Who would ever break up with her? She sounds great. She sounds so
I know.
sweet.
And also, I wrote down anxious attachment before she said anxious attachment. Yeah, she seems great. And also, I bet your therapist does know exactly what's going on, and you're just not actually hearing it. I'm gonna bet.
I wondered that as well. And it's interesting that she's asked her exes for feedback about why, and it sounds like maybe they gave her just sort of general runaround, kind of not direct answer, which, it's hard to give somebody the real answer about this is why I want to leave you. Or why it's not working for you. Yeah, so that it just doesn't fit into my life, or I don't have time. That is such fucking bullshit, probably. So you're not getting the real feedback that you want. And your therapist, therapists, typically like to sort of gently confront their clients, and usually what we're aiming for is for the client to sort of realize it, figure out themselves, and we're there for them. But your therapist most likely does have some theories that maybe they're not telling you about. So I would say go ahead and challenge your therapist to be even more direct.
Yeah.
About what they think is going on, because you are the common denominator here. If it ends after 3 months, this has been happening for 2 years or so, then there's probably something. I mean, I don't want to victim blame here or whatever. It could just be these people that you're dating.
Well, that's what I wrote down. I think she's either going for unavailable people,
right,
that are either physically or emotionally unavailable, and literally what they're saying is oh, I'm just not ready for something is the truth. And that's why the 3-month marker shows up. And she's probably, I would say she's also probably putting pressure on that date, on that 3-month marker, because she sees it as some sort of curse now. And she probably gets weird at 2.5 months because she's feeling like it's going to happen at 3 months. And it sounds like and then she said it, I was like, it sounds like you're having an anxious attachment, and people feel that. And the time when they feel that is 3 months-ish, and that sounds like it's a combo of those things. But her therapist obviously would know more. So you're right.
I agree with you. There could be some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy going on that like you said, after 2.5 months, maybe she starts to really scan for reasons why this isn't going to work, or she gets even more anxiously attached, which then pushes them away. Yes, I was also thinking that she's either subconsciously or maybe even a little consciously going for unavailable people. And typically after about 3 months, when you're in a relationship, that's when it turns into a slightly more real relationship, where you have to actually kind of emotionally invest or show your cards or whatever. So you might be going after unavailable people. And she mentioned that there's some dad, father trauma stuff going on there.
Which
so that's
is
probably
usually abandonment, unavailable.
Exactly. So she might be unconsciously choosing men that are her father, who used to be unavailable. The other problem, a problem here, is that oftentimes you can't tell if somebody is emotionally unavailable until 3 months. They're going to present as just fucking cool, chill, available, because you can do that within 3 months.
Secure, as she was saying.
Yes, exactly. So this is not super uncommon that we find out who the person really is after 3 months and then it goes away. And like you said before in another question, like at least it's only 3 months of your life. It sucks that it keeps on adding up, but they're doing you a favor by getting the fuck out, right?
I think she may be the common denominator in the people she's choosing, perhaps, right? And not necessarily that it's about something she's doing wrong, but I certainly went through, I think maybe all of us go through a period of time where we go after unavailable people, especially if you've been abandoned by somebody or you feel like somebody like your dad hasn't been good. You want to be the person that catches the unavailable person. You want to be that, right? And so like that might be the common denominator here.
Yes. And if you catch that unavailable person and turn them into someone who's actually available, not only will that feel satisfying, but it'll feel like you're healing your childhood wound of like your dad not loving you. So, and that's not going to fucking happen, right? Like you're not going to.
And if you do that, you may not like them anymore.
There's that. So yeah, exactly. So it feels like you feel magnetized to these people because of these childhood wounds and you're mistaking that for chemistry when really it's like a little bit of toxicity or like the same old
cat
bullshit.
And mouse game. Yeah,
exactly. It's the cat and mouse game that feels familiar and comfortable and feels like love. If you were abandoned by your dad, then you were like, oh, I guess love equals abandonment. And you're going to subconsciously magnetize, attract other guys who are going to abandon you as well. Yeah. So partly you might have to be like, okay, I can see myself getting like this person over here is really compelling and feels really sparky, but those sparks are maybe an indication of something that's not connecting quite right. So instead I'm going to go for somebody who's not as sparky in that way, right?
Right. And also for that person, it's sparky because they also have that dynamic in their lives where they go after people who really like them and then they abandon, they go after those sparks.
Yes. And then you're reinforcing this narrative. Both of you get to leave the relationship being like, I'm unlovable or I can never be there for someone.
Exactly.
Or it's the same fucking bullshit over and over again. So yeah, go for somebody who doesn't have that same sort of feeling, which might be a little tricky at first because you're like, oh, where's the chemistry then? Like this isn't, but like maybe look for like all the, like ticking off the boxes on paper. Looks like, okay, that's good. Or like try to figure out if they have like emotional availability a little early on. But again, like it's hard to figure that out. But see if you can like go after somebody who's not quite your type, but somebody who you're still like attracted to. There is like the other, so there also might be something that you're doing. I think me and Natalie both agree that it's probably the people that you're picking, but maybe there's something that you're doing. And how would you feel about going back and asking your exes again and being like, could you just tell me the real reason about what's going on here?
Jeff, that's bananas. I would never do that.
I've done it. I
can't. I would. No, that's where I have too much pride. I can't go like, but also, no, that's crazy. Go back to them a second time? No.
I've gotten some incredibly valuable feedback. And it was also like this one time I went back to Michelle and I was like, Michelle, we had we were so good. It was so cute. We were together for 2 months and then out of the blue, you wanted to end things and you gave me some bullshit and, reason. And now like 3 years later, I was like, what's the real reason? And she was like, oh, it's because you're just not like masculine enough. You're not like this like big, tough, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's great.
Cool.
There's nothing I fucking do about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think around that time, I was like going after women.
But you stayed friends with Michelle is the key point here. I don't know if she's staying friends with these 3 months.
I did stay friends with Michelle.
Yeah. I don't think she's staying friends with these 3-month people. Maybe she is, but yeah, if you're friends with them 3 years later, I approve of asking. That I understand.
You don't want that information? You don't think that that's like such valuable information that
Jeff,
will allow you to grow?
I've only been broken up with once in my life.
Okay. And do you know why?
If it wasn't obvious. I do. I did speak to this person afterwards, and I do know why.
And wasn't it nice to have that information?
It was very nice. But
You're proving
yeah.
my point, Natalie.
I am proving your point. And like I said, I think if you stay friends with this person and it doesn't feel weird to ask them years later, it's fine. But like some dude that just broke up with you out of nowhere and you call him again and go, I know I already asked you this, but why?
But what if that happened to you? What if like some person was like, hey, we dated, you broke up with me, I want to know the real reason. Would you give them the real reason?
Yes, because I like to tell people the truth. Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would. But I likely told them the first time.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're...
But yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like people to know where they stand with me, and I like to know where I stand with people, you know?
I respect that. If somebody gives me a bullshit reason why then I usually accept it for as long as I possibly can, because I think that they don't want to say something mean. They don't want to hurt my feelings. And I'm just like,
no way. I'll be like, that's bullshit. That sounds like a load of crap. You tell me.
wow.
I need to know.
Okay.
I need to know. It would kill me. If I sensed that it was bullshit, it would like, I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it. And in that case, I would call them back.
Yeah. No, I always try to let them off the hook. And not ask for the real reason. No, okay. So, well, this is we agree to disagree sort of spot in the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
That's good. There's also, alternatively, your best friends might have a wealth of like opinion and information about why it's going. And oftentimes your friends aren't like totally straightforward with what they think. Unless you ask. It might be like even more helpful if you just emailed them instead of asking them face to face. An email about, framing it. I want to know the truth. I'm willing to take it. Please tell me I'm not quite seeing something. Your friends might be excited about giving you that information.
That's great, because you're not putting them on the spot. You're giving them a time to think about it. They can write you back.
And allow them to... They don't have to. They also don't have to.
They can opt out.
They can opt out. Yeah, exactly. They can unsubscribe from that email. I think we have time for one more question. Andrea, can you give us another?
Hi, Therapy Jeff. Am I unreasonable to refuse to date anyone named Max? My name is Maxine, and I feel like it's a bit too close for comfort for my taste. I'd be interested to know what you think about dating someone with a name similar to yours or dating someone who shares a name with a close family member. Thanks.
Interesting. I don't think it's unreasonable. I think it's maybe a little closed-minded. Because what if someone great out there is named Max, Like, I think it might be novel and fun. A little weird at first, but, like, uncomfortable doesn't mean bad, necessarily. I've dated people with names in my family.
Have you?
Not family members, but yeah, like there are some common names that everybody has, So I've dated people with, and you stop thinking about it that way after a while.
Oh, I would absolutely not date anybody that had like a name in my family. There's something that is just so upsetting about that.
Is your family like really unique names?
No, they have very regular names that people were given in the 80s. So
yeah, I think you get over it. Like, are you gonna just like avoid anybody named John or David? Like, this is like a common name. I think it's closed-minded to not even to be like, nope, same name, the same name as your ex. That's different. Different.
What? That's not different.
It's different.
You're being closed-minded.
No, it's different because it brings up memories necessarily of that.
You've never dated somebody with the same name?
As an ex, no.
As an ex? I went on a string of dating Sarahs. I dated like 3 Sarahs in a row, a couple Sarahs later. I love a Sarah. I love a Kate or a Katie. I'm into Stacy's. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never dated people with the same name. It doesn't mean that like if I met someone with the same name, I would be like, get away from me. Like if it just happened organically, but I would have a bit more trouble with. Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable. I just think, I don't know, live a little. I'd date someone named Natalie just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would not shy away from somebody that had the same name as me. I would only shy away from somebody that had the same name as a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you do you, I think, is what we're saying. Yeah. You're fine.
My motto in life, Jeff, is to try not, like, I try really hard not to be afraid of things that aren't physically dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Okay.
dating someone with your own name, it's not dangerous. So
It's not dangerous. Not dangerous at all. Yeah. Would you ever date? This brings up like the classic question of would you ever date your clone?
yeah,
Or maybe just
1000%. Oh my God, yeah.
Would that be like? Would that would
I
be
don't know
fun?
that I would date her, although we get into science fiction rules, and at the point that she becomes my clone, she's a different person. She's not me anymore, whatever. But I would totally bone my clone. Wouldn't
So
you?
you'd hook up with your clone.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
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 It'd be so weird and maybe great. And you'd learn so much about yourself, obviously with her consent. But if she was anything like me, she'd probably want to.
Right. And I would also, I think I probably would know all the things that turn him on. So I'd be like the best lover for him and he'd be the best lover for me.
Yeah.
But we would never
You
leave
wouldn't
the
leave your
bedroom.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be okay if his name was Jeff.
But
That's
also,
fine with
he'd
me.
probably gross you out a lot. Like, you'd give yourself the ick, I imagine, right? Like, I would give myself the ick after a while, I think.
I think there'd be some sort of ick factor.
Like,
that
I'm
happens.
already somewhat annoyed with myself on a daily basis. So if, like, I had to literally see myself doing things, I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it wouldn't last very long.
No, I don't think it would last.
No. Yeah. So it wouldn't be like a long-term thing. It would just
I
be
wonder
like
how much jealousy would come into play.
Wait, who's jealous of what?
Like I was just thinking about like my clone, right? And then like the second they're cloned, immediately different life, different thoughts, different whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the longer that went on, like would I look at them ever and be like, they're having a better life than I. Like I'm treating them so much nicer than they're treating me. Like, you know what I mean? Like how would jealousy ever come into play with someone that like was exactly like you, you know?
It sounds like for you, it would come into play.
But Jeff, if someone exactly like you had, by some coincidence or miracle, a slightly better opportunity than you did, wouldn't you be like, what the fuck?
It wouldn't feel fair.
Right.
At all. Yeah. And especially if I was the original and they were just a
Exactly.
clone.
That's
what the
what I
fuck
mean.
is that? Don't you want
That's
the
what I mean.
original? Yeah.
That's
So
what I
then
mean.
I think I would end up doing a murder. And I
Yeah,
think that you
exactly.
could murder your clone. I think that's legal to murder your clone. So.
I don't think it is. I think you're screwed. They're already autonomous the second they're cloned.
I feel like I could win that battle in court.
This is a whole other conversation.
Okay, I think we need to end it here. Natalie, thank you so much for being
Thank
on this
you.
podcast. It was a lot of fun.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad it all worked out. We were able to do it.
Yeah, you did really good advice. So,
I did?
You
I
did?
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
good
good.
job.
Yes.
Yeah, way to
Yes.
go.
Would you want
Yeah.
me to be your patient's friends?
Oh my God, I would die. Yes, my
great.
therapy would work so much better.
That's all I wanted to hear. Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good day.